we have an update about Drakeling Labs and the Venatur situation, so let's talk about it. Before we get too deep, let's do a quick TLDR of the situation. BlueDrake42 and his team Drakeling Labs produced a game that we've covered here on the show called Operation Harsh Doorstop. The game is a free-to-play tactical shooter a la Arma, right? It's got all sorts of like tactical shooter, mil-sim stuff. You can build mods for it and whatever else. It has an open mod SDK and players can create their own content. A few months ago, back in November of 2023, it was discovered that SiBa Games, the developer behind a new extraction shooter called Venatur, were using assets from the mod SDK in their $30 game. SiBa, who are in Italy, say they did nothing wrong and refused to take the assets out of the game. So BlueDrake42 and his lawyers went ahead and started filing a legal dispute, and they said they'd update things as they went along.
And mind you, the assets were blatantly ripped. You can go online, Google search it, and see the side-by-sides. Homie, they're like barely flipped. And they didn't say, let me copy your homework. They made copies of that homework.
Yeah, I remember when we first covered this too. I remember SiBa like making a statement about them being in Italy and that Italian law would somehow like make them immune to any like copyright infringement. So yeah, just be warned, the level of self-entitlement after clearly stealing content is absolutely baffling. They're like, I don't think you understand Italian law. And we're like, that's not how that works.
I completely forgot, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it's like you're doing business in the United States. At some point, you're going to be working with an entity that is like in the United States. Of course, you're going to get fucked in some way. But right. So we're here. We're talking about it. We have an update. Let's just get like right into it. Last week on April 10th, Blue Drake made an update post regarding the situation on Twitter. We're going to give you the highlights. Link to the tweet will be down below. Of course, link to some of our previous coverage and some other videos out there as well. So, quote, over the last few weeks, our legal representatives at Morrison Cooper have been attempting to reach an amicable resolution with SiBa Games regarding their illegal use of our copyrighted assets being sold in their commercial game without our permission. In an effort to be reasonable, we offered them a settlement agreement in which we would drop all charges on the condition that their studio paid all legal fees associated with our lawsuit against them so far, around $8,000, and also provided confirmation with proof that all our assets had been removed from their game with provisions to assure that our assets would not be illegally used again.
So that seems like a pretty clear out then, right?
Yeah, like this nice exit ramp. There's no traffic. But apparently some people don't know when to quit when they are ahead because they refused the offer.
They're probably like, Italian law.
Actually, we'll get into why they refused the offer here in just a minute. But, quote, SiBa Games officially refused our offer as they claim to be on the verge of closing down their entire studio and have absolutely no funds remaining. However, almost immediately after refusing our settlement offer, SiBa Games began filing DMCA strikes against creators who uploaded videos criticizing their studio for the utilization of stolen assets. Real quick, we haven't been hit by this. We are sardines in like this sea, so I don't think we've even gotten attention for it. But the creators that we do
take it from us.
Yeah, but we do know that there are two creators, at least, that it is Jam365 and Redbeard Mortis.
Right, and there's like an exceptional irony in using the copyright system to silence critique when you're accused of stealing someone else's IP for commercial gain, especially when all that's shown in these videos are in fact Venatur gameplay compared to OHD gameplay, and just pointing out those
yeah, the cognitive dissonance is deafening. To continue, quote, it is insane to me that SiBa Games has chosen violence at nearly every opportunity when we have given them so many opportunities to resolve the situation peacefully. While a lawsuit against SiBa Games would be expensive, which is why we offered them every opportunity to avoid it, we would almost certainly win. Regardless of this, they seem determined to waste what little resources they have attacking creators that have criticized their studio for using copywritten assets that SiBa themselves have openly admitted to using. In light of this unwarranted escalation of this situation, our studio will now begin the process of fundraising for our lawsuit against SiBa Games since they have refused our settlement offer and are currently filing DMCA strikes against creators. And we'll have the link down below if you're interested in supporting Blue Drake in his lawsuit.
And they did say that they were planning on reimbursing anyone who chose to donate, as well as like after the legal battle with the payout, should they receive it after winning potentially. However, that's if and when they win against SiBa, and of course, if SiBa is actually capable of paying that sum.
Yes. So did SiBa like respond to this at all?
Yeah, so they actually did respond directly under the tweet. We see here for the first time the amount for the dispute. We deem an agreement unacceptable if it does not clearly specify the legal expenses to be reimbursed. Since you have shifted everything to the media realm, we are willing to organize a public conference.
My guy, it has been in the quote unquote media realm.
Yeah. And to that point, in the post, BlueDrake did share the response from SiBa's legal representative. And it does sound like the amount wasn't specified in the offer. In the response that they shared, quote, in light of this, the demand for payment of legal fees which were not quantified in the agreement cannot be accepted in any way by SiBa because the company simply has no money. But then they also go on to blame Drakeling Labs, saying, my client would have been happy to cooperate with your client and give him royalties, but Mr. Hill's behavior has effectively destroyed the company.
I don't know if that's
Definitely
how that
Mr. Hill.
works. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, point one finger through, you're pointing back, you know? Like, like I don't know what's going on here, but that's not how that works.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, well, we would have paid, royalties. They don't have to play ball. Like,
You would have fixed it forever ago if we had the money.
Yeah, it's like,
known.
yeah, it's like you're paying for the chocolate bar after it's been eaten. You know?
Yeah. And you've been caught, by the way, because you probably would not have paid for said chocolate bar if you would have been able to just walk out after eating it.
Yeah, you have chocolate on your face and the wrapper in your pocket,
Yeah.
And you're only offering to pay after someone pointed that out. Like, Drakeling Labs doesn't have to play ball with you. You stole from them. I think the last thing I'm gonna say on this is it really didn't have to end up like this. You could have just settled. You could have just called it good. You could have just admitted to using assets that weren't yours and just had them removed from the game. You really don't have anyone else to blame but yourself, SiBa Games. Like, it didn't have to be like this. It really didn't.
Yeah. That's why I said like the self-entitlement. I don't know if it's like it just feels like it's a self-entitlement thing because there's like a language barrier disconnect, but like it's been crazy the whole time. Like I can't fathom anyone being like, I stole this, but it's your fault that I stole it, and I'm in no way wrong ever. Period. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I think the one thing that comes to mind for me as far as like a closing thoughts is we've had a lot of stories like this with a developer that has clearly made missteps along the way and then refuses to take any sort of responsibility. I feel bad because as someone who's like in the news kind of sphere for gaming, I have completely forgotten already the game that had come out. What was it? I think in like February, it lasted like a week and it was supposed to be like a zombie survival
The
game.
day before?
The day before, like tough shit. That's just how it goes. Like, no, dude, like you basically scammed every single consumer that came to you. Like, what was this guy thinking? He was going to sell a game full of stolen assets to a whole bunch of unwitting people for $30 a pop. Like, where does the buck stop with some of these people? Like, it's becoming a bit of a pandemic in game development, having developers with this sort of mentality.
Yeah. So, of course, like always, let us know your thoughts in the comments of this video. If you like this video, go on ahead and like. If you want more news coverage, go on ahead and subscribe. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting the good fights, and we'll see you in the next video.